to the world. He was the brilliant comedian and Oscar-winning actor who made millions laugh. But behind the quick wit and big smile was a man quietly drowning in untreated depression, addiction, and a mind he could no longer trust. And even more shocking, the truth about his final days is nothing like what most people think. How could a man who gave so much joy be hiding so much pain? Unseen truths will be revealed. Stay to the end to understand why Robin Williams still haunts us. Long before Robin Williams became one of the most beloved comedic icons in the world, he was a quiet, lonely child growing up in a life that looked privileged from the outside, but felt painfully empty on the inside. Born in Chicago in 1951, Robin was the only child of a 4 executive father and a fashion model mother whose elegance and charm masked an emotional distance he could never quite bridge. His childhood home was large, immaculate, and eerily quiet, the kind of quiet that leaves a young mind searching for escape. Robin often described himself as a shy kid who lived mostly in his imagination. While other children played outside, he spent hours alone in the attic with his toy soldiers, creating whole worlds in his head, giving each character a voice, a personality, a backstory. It was his first stage, the birthplace of the genius he would one day share with the world. But at the time, it was simply a refuge, a way to fill the silence. His father traveled constantly for work, and his mother, though loving in her own way, struggled to connect emotionally. She was witty, beautiful, dazzling in social situations, but distant in private moments. Robin later admitted that he learned to be funny not because it was natural, but because it was the only way to make his mother pause, look at him, and truly see him. Humor became his currency of affection, the only tool he knew to earn warmth in a cold house. When Robin was still very young, the family moved to a wealthy suburb in Michigan. Their new home was even larger, even quieter. Robin had an entire floor to himself, but instead of feeling special, he felt isolated. Money brought comfort, but not connection. And as his parents grew more consumed by their own careers, Robin retreated deeper into characters, voices, imaginary friends, anything that made him feel less alone. School didn't offer much relief. Robin was small, shy, and awkward. He struggled with insecurity and a fear of never being enough. Teachers noticed his intelligence, but also sensed the heavy emotional fog that surrounded him. He made a few friends, but more often than not, he used humor to avoid intimacy, afraid that if people looked too closely, they would see the loneliness he was desperate to hide. Everything began to shift when the family moved again, this time to California. At Redwood High School, something awakened in Robin. He discovered theater. For the first time in his life, he found a space where imagination wasn't strange. It was celebrated. A space where voices, characters, and emotions weren't something to be hidden, but something powerful, something freeing. Drama teachers described Robin as electrifying, even as a teenager. He wasn't just performing, he was transforming. His ability to switch personalities, to improvise entire scenes on the spot, to make a room erupt in laughter or fall into silence, was unlike anything they had seen in a student his age. But even in the spotlight, shadows followed him. Robin struggled privately with feelings of abandonment, self-doubt, and an ache he couldn't name. He later revealed that many of his comedic personas came from a place of deep emotional need, a need to be seen, to be loved, to be enough. Comedy wasn't just talent, it was survival. His parents, proud of his newfound passion, supported him in their own distant way. But emotional closeness remained elusive. Robin often described his childhood home as a museum, beautiful, but you're not supposed to touch anything. Love was present but fragile. Connection existed but in fragments. By the time Robin graduated, the world saw a charming, quick-witted young man exploding with potential. But inside, he carried the same loneliness that shaped him as a child. A loneliness he would spend the rest of his life trying to outrun through characters, voices, jokes, and the unending effort to make the world laugh. His genius was blooming, but so was the darkness that would one day consume him. Robin Williams did not enter show business like a rising star. He slipped into it like a force of nature no one saw coming. After graduating from high school in California, he enrolled at Claremont Men's College, but the classroom couldn't contain him. While other students prepared for business degrees, Robin was in hallways, in cafeterias, on steps outside buildings, performing, improvising, turning everyday life into a stage. Professors said he had too much electricity to sit still. And Robin knew it. He felt it buzzing under his skin, an energy that demanded an outlet. He finally dropped out, choosing instead to study theater full-time. Not because it was practical, but because it was the only place that made sense. He earned a scholarship to the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City, one of the most elite acting programs in the world. There, he met Christopher Reeve, who would become his lifelong friend. Their bond was immediate, one quiet and serious, the other explosive and unpredictable. Teachers described Robin as a once-in-a-generation phenomenon, someone who didn't just act but erupted. Even at Juilliard, however, Robin struggled with self-doubt and identity. He feared being ordinary. He feared disappearing. He feared not being enough. And so he pushed harder, moved faster, improvised wilder. His teachers were amazed, but they quietly worried. Brilliance like his often came with a cost. Eventually, Juilliard told him something no one expected. He no longer needed the school. His talent was beyond what they could teach. Robin left and fell into stand-up comedy almost by accident. But once he stepped onto a comedy stage, the world shifted. Stand-up became the perfect outlet for every voice inside him. He didn't just tell jokes, he shape-shifted. He exploded into characters. He bent reality. Audiences didn't watch him perform. They watched him transform. Clubs in San Francisco and Los Angeles spread his name like wildfire. People described seeing him live as witnessing a storm inside a human body. But even then, there was an ache behind the brilliance. Comedians noticed that when Robin left the stage, the light inside him dimmed. He seemed lost, drained, like someone who only existed fully in the spotlight, and collapsed into himself when it was gone. Hollywood soon came calling. His first roles on television were small and chaotic, but executives noticed something rare. Robin didn't behave like a sitcom actor. He was unpredictable, uncontrollable, impossible to script. Casting directors whispered that he was unmanageable, but irresistibly so. Then came the show that would explode him into superstardom. Mork and Mindy, 1978. Robin wasn't supposed to be the lead. He wasn't even supposed to be cast. But when he walked into the audition and sat, literally, on his head, everyone in the room realized they were watching someone unlike anything television had ever seen. As Mork, Robin improvised nearly every scene. His comedic instincts reshaped the entire show's structure. Writers stopped trying to control him, and instead began building scripts around his unpredictability. Mork and Mindy became a cultural phenomenon, and overnight, Robin transformed from an underground comic into one of America's most recognizable faces. But fame carried a shadow. The pressure intensified. Audiences expected him to be brilliant every minute of every day. Studio executives demanded more, faster, bigger. Reporters wanted the hyperactive comic persona, not the vulnerable man underneath. And Robin, terrified of disappointing people, delivered. He gave energy he didn't have. He gave joy he couldn't feel. He gave more of himself than anyone realized. With fame came parties, alcohol, drugs, especially cocaine, which became both a social tool and a way to numb the exhaustion of constantly performing. He later admitted that the drug wasn't about pleasure. It was about silence, a moment where the voices in his head slowed down. But even in the chaos of rising fame, Robin showed flashes of the depth and vulnerability that would one day define his greatest dramatic roles. He took smaller film roles, searching for characters who were broken, tender, human, shades of himself he wasn't ready to confront publicly. Then, in the early 1980s, tragedy struck the comedy world. John Belushi died of a drug overdose. Robin was one of the last people to see him alive. For the first time, the danger of the lifestyle surrounding him became real. Robin's humor could deflect anything, except the death of a friend whose demons mirrored his own. Belushi's death shook Robin so deeply that he quit cocaine cold turkey. But quitting drugs didn't quiet the darkness inside him. It only removed the layer that had been muffling it. By the end of the decade, Hollywood had begun to see both sides of Robin Williams, the wildfire comic who could turn chaos into brilliance, and the fragile human being behind the whirlwind. His talent was rising, but so was the weight pressing down on him. And soon, Robin Williams would enter the phase of his career that would cement him as a cultural icon, while quietly magnifying the pain he tried so hard to hide. Robin Williams did not simply become famous. He erupted into stardom with a force that Hollywood had rarely seen before. By the early 1980s, he was no longer just a rising talent. He was a cultural phenomenon. Mork and Mindy had turned him into America's beloved alien, a whirlwind of improvisation and boundless energy. Audiences couldn't get enough of him. Children adored him. Adults marveled at him. Critics called him the comic of the decade. But fame for Robin was never a gentle ascent. It was an explosion, loud, blinding, overwhelming. Everywhere he went, crowds formed. Talk shows begged for him. Magazine covers crowned him the funniest man alive. His face was plastered on billboards, posters, lunchboxes. Hollywood had found its newest golden boy. Unpredictable, unstoppable, unforgettable. And for the first time in his life, Robin felt seen. But being seen did not mean being understood. Behind the scenes, his meteoric rise masked a storm building in silence. Stardom amplified the qualities audiences loved, but also magnified the insecurities Robin had carried since childhood. The faster he rose, the deeper the emptiness felt, and the more people demanded the comedic genius, the more terrified Robin became of disappointing them. He once joked in an interview, "If I stop being funny, will they still want me?" But the laugh that followed was thin, barely covering the fear beneath. His film career exploded shortly after his TV success. Popeye in 1980, though awkwardly received, showcased his commitment. The World According to Garp in 1982 revealed his dramatic potential. Moscow on the Hudson in 1984 cemented him as a serious actor. But it was Good Morning Vietnam in 1987 that catapulted him into a new realm entirely. As Adrian Cronauer, Robin delivered one of the most electrifying performances of the decade, a blend of explosive comedy and heartbreaking humanity. Much of his dialogue was improvised, a raw stream of brilliance that left directors speechless. The film earned him his first Oscar nomination. Hollywood no longer saw him as just a funny guy. He was an actor, a serious one, a force whose emotional depth matched his comedic chaos. Yet the higher he climbed, the more fragile he became. Interviews from the period show a man glowing on camera, but restless underneath. He spoke quickly, moved constantly, deflected questions with humor. Journalists adored him, but some quietly noted his eyes, always bright but never still. He seemed afraid of silence, afraid of what might emerge if he paused too long. During this period, Robin's personal life began weaving into his public persona. His marriage to Valerie Velarde strained under the weight of fame. His affair with a cocktail waitress made headlines. Paparazzi followed him relentlessly. Tabloids painted him as chaotic, unpredictable, even dangerous. And the more the public consumed the legend of Robin Williams, the more Robin retreated behind the character they loved. He became trapped in his own mythology, the man who could make anyone laugh at any moment, under any circumstance, except himself. But despite his internal battles, Robin achieved some of the greatest cinematic triumphs of his life in this era. Dead Poets Society, 1989, became a cultural touchstone. As John Keating, he delivered a performance so soulful, so deeply human, that it reshaped an entire generation's relationship with art, poetry, and individuality. The line Carpe Diem became a global calling card. Then came Awakenings, 1990, showing Robin's quiet, vulnerable side, and The Fisher King, 1991, blending madness and pain in a way that mirrored his own internal world. In the public eye, Robin Williams was unstoppable, but privately he was unraveling. The fame he had longed for as a child was now suffocating him. The expectations, the pressure, the constant need to perform, all of it widened the gap between the man on stage and the man in the mirror. He turned increasingly to alcohol, struggling to balance the world's adoration with his own growing despair. Hollywood saw him as a beacon of joy, but behind the curtain, the weight of being everyone's source of laughter was slowly crushing him. Robin Williams had become a legend, but the legend came with a shadow, one that would follow him into the next chapter of his life, where brilliance and darkness would collide more intensely than ever before. Fame made Robin Williams a global icon, but behind the curtain, it was slowly tearing him apart. By the early 1990s, the world saw him as unstoppable, an explosion of joy, genius, and limitless creativity. But inside, Robin felt something very different. Exhaustion, fear, and a darkness he could no longer outrun. He was living two lives. On stage, he was the brightest light in any room. Off stage, he was unraveling. Cocaine had once been Robin's escape, a way to quiet the relentless energy in his mind. He abandoned it after John Belushi's death, but the psychological holes remained. Sobriety removed the numbing layer that had once dulled his anxiety, leaving him exposed and raw. He developed a pattern that terrified those close to him. When the laughter stopped, silence swallowed him whole. Robin feared stillness. He feared the quiet moments when he was alone with his thoughts. And as his fame grew, so did the pressure to be Robin Williams every second. Funny, brilliant, chaotic, lovable. He wasn't just performing on stage. He was performing in restaurants, interviews, red carpets, even at home. People adored the persona, but the persona was devouring the man. Even Robin admitted, "I didn't know how to stop performing. I didn't know who I was without the jokes." Throughout the 90s, Robin delivered some of his greatest performances. Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji, Good Will Hunting, Patch Adams. Each character brought joy to millions. But the contrast between his public joy and private despair was widening. Those who worked with him described moments where he suddenly dimmed, as if a curtain had dropped behind his eyes. He would go quiet, disappear into himself, then snap back into character with forced enthusiasm. His marriage began to fracture, his friendship strained, his mental health wavered, and yet no one truly knew how deep the pain ran. Robin had mastered the art of hiding his despair behind jokes. Comedy had become his shield and his prison. The more successful he became, the more Robin felt like he didn't deserve it. Imposter syndrome followed him everywhere, whispering that he wasn't good enough, that one wrong move would make everything collapse. He worked tirelessly, sometimes obsessively. Friends noticed he couldn't sit still. He filled silence with voices, characters, improvisations, because silence meant facing himself. He once confessed privately, "If I slow down, the sadness catches me." After years of sobriety, Robin relapsed. Alcohol entered his life again, not as a party drug, but as a quiet companion to numb the weight of living. He often drank alone, in hotel rooms on the road, or between filming breaks. Those who loved him sensed something was wrong, but Robin remained deeply private. Shame surrounded his addiction. He didn't want anyone to know he was slipping. The spiral was slow at first. Missed calls, fatigue, irritability, moments of emotional withdrawal. Then the cracks widened. In 2006, Robin checked himself into rehab. He joked with reporters about it, but those close to him knew the truth. He was drowning, and rehab was a desperate attempt to breathe. He emerged sober again, but sobriety could not fix the darkness growing inside him. In the early 2010s, something changed. Robin began experiencing symptoms he couldn't explain: crippling anxiety, tremors, paranoia, insomnia, memory lapses, confusion during simple tasks. He feared he was losing his mind. Doctors suspected depression, then Parkinson's disease, but nothing explained the full picture. Robin privately worried he was developing dementia. The fear consumed him. His creativity faltered. His confidence shattered. He once told a friend, "I feel like my brain isn't working anymore." For a man whose entire life depended on quick thinking, imagination, and emotional presence, this was a death sentence. Filmmakers noticed he needed more takes. Crew members saw him hesitate between lines. Friends said he seemed lost inside himself. Robin was aware of every slip, every pause, every moment where his mind betrayed him, and it terrified him. By 2014, the symptoms intensified dramatically. Robin struggled to sleep. He paced through the night. He asked the same questions repeatedly. He became paranoid, convinced something terrible was happening inside his brain. He checked himself into a neuropsychological clinic. Tests were inconclusive. Doctors gave him vague answers. No one could explain why his mind was failing. And Robin, once the man with endless characters inside him, felt his inner world going silent. The laughter he had used to shield himself no longer came easily. The rapid improvisation he was famous for began to fade. He stopped trusting his own thoughts. He told his wife, Susan, "I just want to reboot my brain." But the reboot never came. Robin felt himself slipping away, piece by piece, and he could not bear the idea of becoming a burden, a hollow version of himself, trapped in a failing mind. What no one knew, not even Robin, was that he was suffering from Lewy body dementia, one of the most aggressive and torturous neurological diseases known today. It would only be diagnosed after his death. To the world, Robin Williams was pure joy. But behind closed doors, he was fighting a monster no one could see. The collapsing of his identity, the erosion of his creativity, the fear of losing the very mind that had made him who he was. He wasn't battling sadness. He was battling disappearance. And slowly, painfully, the man the world adored was being pulled into a darkness he could no longer escape. Robin Williams had survived addiction. He had survived fame. He had survived the weight of being everyone's happiness. But he could not survive the disease that was quietly stealing his mind. By the summer of 2014, Robin Williams was living inside a mind that no longer felt like his own. The man who had once commanded rooms with effortless brilliance now struggled to complete sentences, remember small tasks, or sleep through a single night. To the outside world, Robin was still Robin, still the beloved comedian, still the man who lit up screens. But inside, he felt himself disappearing. And nothing terrified him more. Robin began waking up in the middle of the night soaked in fear. His hands trembled. His thoughts splintered. He felt distant from his own body. He told friends he felt foggy, broken, not myself. Doctors diagnosed him with depression, then anxiety, then Parkinson's disease. But none of those labels captured the full horror of what was happening inside his brain. He became paranoid that he was losing intelligence, that his creativity, his gift, was dying. He questioned every movement, every hesitation, every lapse in memory. During the filming of Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, Robin took longer to remember lines. His timing, once razor-sharp, felt slowed, muffled. Crew members whispered their concern privately, too afraid to confront the truth. His makeup artist, Sherry Minns, later admitted, he was sobbing in my arms, saying, "I don't know what's happening to me." The fear was consuming him. At home, Robin tried to stay strong for his wife, Susan. He apologized constantly for forgetting things, for repeating questions, for losing his train of thought. He paced the house at night. He struggled to read scripts. Even simple tasks, like finding his glasses or opening a door, became overwhelming. He told Susan he felt like a prisoner inside his own brain. Susan watched the man she loved collapsing from the inside out. She pushed for more tests, more specialists, more answers. But every doctor gave a different opinion. No one understood the disease that was killing him. Robin's anxiety spiraled. His depression deepened. His world narrowed to fear, confusion, and shame. Yet he had most of it because he did not want to burden anyone. That was Robin's greatest tragedy. He gave the world everything and carried his suffering alone. On August 10th, Robin spent time with Susan. They held hands, walked around the neighborhood, talked softly about upcoming plans. He seemed calm, too calm. People suffering from advanced neurodegenerative diseases often experience a brief period of clarity before a catastrophic decline. Susan believed for a moment that things might be turning around. Robin kissed her goodnight. He said, "Good night, my love." She didn't know it would be the last time she heard his voice. The next morning, the house was strangely silent. Robin didn't come downstairs. He didn't answer calls. He wasn't in the kitchen where he usually made tea. Susan knocked on the door of the room where he had been sleeping. No response. She assumed he was resting and left the house. Hours later, a personal assistant arrived and opened the door to check on him. What they found would break the world. Robin Williams, the man who made millions laugh, the man whose heart overflowed with empathy, the man who fought monsters no one could see, had taken his own life. He was 63 years old. News of his death spread like shockwaves. TV networks interrupted programming. Fans gathered outside his home. The entire world mourned, not with celebrity gossip fascination, but with grief reserved for someone who felt like family. People said, "How can a man who brought so much joy be in so much pain? How do we not see it? Why didn't anyone help him?" But the truth is far more tragic and far more misunderstood. Robin Williams did not die because of depression. He did not die because of addiction. He did not die because fame was too heavy. He died because his brain was being destroyed from the inside. The autopsy revealed the truth. Robin Williams had Lewy body dementia, one of the most aggressive, terrifying neurological diseases known to medicine. Doctors later confirmed it was one of the worst cases ever documented. Lewy bodies had invaded nearly every region of his brain, affecting movement, memory, perception, emotion, and identity. The disease caused hallucinations, paranoia, cognitive deterioration, panic attacks, insomnia, loss of reasoning, personality changes, depression as a symptom, not the cause. Robin was not losing the will to live. He was losing the ability to be himself. He never had a chance. Robin Williams didn't want to die. He wanted relief. He wanted answers. He wanted the pain to stop. He wanted his mind back. But Lewy body dementia is relentless. It strips away everything: memory, identity, stability, reality itself. Robin's final act was not a choice of despair. It was a final symptom of a disease that had consumed him. And yet, the world misdiagnosed him in death just as doctors misdiagnosed him in life. People said he was sad. People said he was broken. People said comedians hide pain. But the truth is deeper. Robin Williams was fighting a neurological monster that even experts couldn't see. He held on as long as he could. He fought harder than anyone knew. He masked the pain to protect others. But in the end, the disease was stronger. The day Robin Williams died, the world didn't just lose an actor. It lost a source of light. It lost a voice that had comforted generations. It lost a man who had the rare ability to reach into people's hearts and lift them, even when his own heart was unbearably heavy. His death created a silence that felt unnatural. A world with Robin Williams, and it sounded different. When that sound vanished, millions felt the loss like a physical ache. Within hours, makeshift memorials appeared around his home, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, outside comedy clubs, and even at the bench scene in Boston from Good Will Hunting. People placed flowers, handwritten letters, drawings of Genie from Aladdin, and notes that read, "You made my childhood magical. Thank you for saving me. Oh, Captain, my Captain." Fans sobbed openly on news broadcasts. Comedians spoke about him as if the air had been punched out of their lungs. Actors who had never worked with him still described him as a mentor, someone who taught the world how to feel, not just how to laugh. Even President Obama issued a statement honoring Robin, calling him one of a kind. The grief was global, immediate, and profound. Weeks after his death, the autopsy revealed the truth. Robin Williams had been suffering from Lewy body dementia, one of the most devastating neurological diseases known to medicine. Only then did the world begin to understand the magnitude of his suffering. Doctors explained that the disease causes hallucinations, cognitive decline, intense anxiety, and a loss of self that feels like being trapped inside a dying mind. It wasn't sadness that took Robin's life. It was a disease that stole his identity piece by piece. This revelation shifted the global conversation. People started talking about mental health, neurodegenerative illnesses, and invisible battles that even the brightest performers endure. Robin, even in death, ignited a movement of understanding. As the shock faded, people revisited his work and discovered that Robin Williams had woven pieces of soul into every role he ever played. The wounded healer in Patch Adams, the broken dreamer in The Fisher King, the gentle psychiatrist in Good Will Hunting, the inspiring teacher in Dead Poet Society, the chaotic but loving father in Mrs. Doubtfire, the boundless spirit inside Genie from Aladdin. Each character carried his humor, his empathy, his longing, his wounds. People finally realized Robin wasn't acting. He was giving pieces of himself away. Movies he made decades before suddenly felt new again, because audiences now understood the pain behind the performances. Robin Williams' legacy is not defined by the way he left this world. It is defined by the millions of people whose lives he touched. The lonely kids he made feel seen, the adults he reminded to dream, the people fighting depression who found comfort in his characters, the comedians inspired by his fearlessness, the artists shaped by his emotional honesty. He made laughter feel sacred. He made vulnerability feel brave. He made humanity feel beautiful. And his death accomplished something he never intended but would have deeply valued. It helped people understand that even the brightest souls can battle the darkest storms. Today, Robin Williams lives in the lines people quote, the films that never age, the jokes that still land, the hearts he lifted, and the conversations he started about mental health, compassion, and the fragility of the human mind. He is gone, but he is not absent. His presence remains in memories, in art, and in the light he left behind. Robin Williams didn't just make the world laugh. He made it feel. When the world remembers Robin Williams, it remembers the laughter first, the joy, the electricity, the way he could turn a room into a universe of possibilities. But behind every spark was a man who felt deeply, who loved intensely, and who carried more weight than anyone could see. Robin's gift was not simply humor. His gift was empathy. He saw the brokenness in others because he recognized it in himself. He brought comfort to millions while quietly fighting a battle he never wished on anyone. His death did not diminish the light he gave to the world. It revealed how rare and powerful that light truly was. We grieve him not because he was famous, but because he made us feel understood, seen in ways only he could. Robin Williams taught us that kindness is a form of courage, that joy can be born from pain, that the loudest laughter can sometimes come from the quietest hearts. And though his story ended with tragedy, it is not a story of defeat. It is a story of a man who gave everything he had, even when he had almost nothing left to give. Today, his legacy lives in every smile he sparked, every life he touched, every moment of comfort someone felt because of a character he brought to life. He is gone from the world, but not from us, because some stars do not fade. They simply move beyond our sight, while their light continues to shine.